Okay, my name is Danielle Lauren, and I am wildly giddy with excitement to be sharing this message with you today. And I'm not sure how many messages there are going to be. There's going to be a few of them. It's probably going to be sort of like an EP. Remember when we had actual albums and there was like 12 songs, 13 songs, 14 songs? I think this is going to be more of like an EP type of series, maybe 5 or 6 episodes, but honestly, nobody knows. At this point, I digress. I'm glad you're here. And if I was going to title this something, I would call it The Great Change, because that is what I'm feeling. And I really, really feel like there are so many of you out there, us out there, that are navigating something where it feels like we could be struggling. Feels like we could be confused. It could feel that maybe we're stuck. Something's happening and it's stressful and it's confusing. It might be feeling liberating. It might be feeling exciting, but it feels big. And for all the parts and aspects of it that feel like there's something wrong, I want you to understand that from where I'm sitting, I really think you're just going through a change. Okay. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story of how I got to this moment to be able to ecstatically voice this conversation to you and tell you where I'm at and compared to where I was at and how I got here and why I think this is so important for you to understand as well. Because I spent 2 years of my life in what I see as a vibrational loop. And for a lot of that time, I really thought that I was stuck. Okay. And this really started to mess with my confidence. It messed with my self-esteem. It was confusing and it took me out of the game in a lot of ways when I was never meant to be taken out of the game, if you will. Actually, who I am, my experience, my understanding, my gift, my knowledge, my embodiment is so legit and so on point, just like I know yours is. But we can start to get into this place where we start to feel confused or less than, or things are looking different than they were before, or things aren't feeling right, or you're wanting something different from your life, or you're just feeling like maybe you're stuck, but really you're just going through a change. And it is very easy to go down the loop that perpetuates itself and circles within itself and takes you to a place where you actually might even start to think that you don't know what to do or you don't know what is next for you. And it can start to feel really bad and really heavy. And what I want to offer you through these conversations is I want to bring you back to your place and your power as a creator. And I want to help take you out of that like confusing space and bring you back into a more pleasurable space. And I want to reconnect you with your identity and your self-concept because those two things are driving almost the entire experience that you're having. And I know that this place can sometimes feel like a mind fuck, especially when you are the type of person who is so brilliant and you are the type of person who is so incredibly in tune with yourself. You're the type of person who can always read the room. You are in tune with everything that is around you. You're literally an advanced processor. You are not here having your first rodeo moment, yet you're doubting yourself. You're wondering what's next. You're feeling like things aren't clicking anymore. And I just want to move you quickly and leap you to the understanding that you're literally just going through a change. Okay, so my intention for you is to feel resonance with me here. I'm going to talk to you like I'm your friend. This is how I vibe. This is how I do. I'm an experiential teacher. You're listening to this and I want you to pretend like you're, sitting and talking to me on the phone. I'm actually recording this for you from my bed at home in Hawaii today. And I really just want to have a real, like, balls to the wall conversation with you because actually, what's happening for you is so, so good. and things are about to make so much sense. And if things are feeling not that great right now, they are going to be feeling very, very good soon again. So let's get into it. The great change. Chances are you're a woman listening to this. This is still going to have a lot of value for you if you're a man. And I know I have a lot of incredible men in my community, in my audience that are watching and supporting and participating in my work. So if you're here and you're a man, thank you for being here. And I truly do love you. I know I don't create a lot of offers anymore geared towards you, but I love the fact that you're here. And I know that you'll find value in this as well. I am going to share these episodes and, connect the dots from the perspective of a woman's experience. And ultimately, I'm sharing these also to create a resonance and to create a line of energy through through me to you if you are the type of woman that I really feel that I have activating power to share with. And what I mean by that in more basic terms is I'm sharing this because if you're going through what I'm describing, you are the exact type of woman that I desire to work with at this point in my life. And I am on the other side of my great change. And what that is meaning for me is that I am working with people in a different way now. I have let a lot of the things that I was doing before go that were, that were already of service to me. And I have a greater understanding now of what is really fueling all of our destinies and what are the things that are the foundation that really support our lives becoming the magical lives that we're all wishing for and striving for and that we see for ourselves. And in ways over the last quite a few years, I've been teaching a lot of strategy and creating programs, experiences. I created a certification program for psychedelic facilitation, and all of this has to do with the human that you are, but a lot of it is strategy based. And what I'm understanding on this side of my great change is that this whole entire game that we're playing comes down to identity. It comes down to self-concept. And it comes down to your power as a creator and your ability to understand that and to yield it and like make magic with yourself. And I'm throwing another pillar in because these are really the four pillars of my brand as I see it now. And the last pillar that I'm throwing in is pleasure because I know, at least for myself, I wasn't experiencing a lot of pleasure in my life as I built my life and as I created my life and as I've been doing the things that I've been doing to get to this point where I am. And I personally just don't want to live like that anymore. So we're throwing pleasure in as well because we all deserve more of it. Okay. And the strategy work is nothing without these other aspects. And at the end of the day, this is why there is no one size fits all modality for everyone to be copying or following or learning from, because it comes down to who you are as the individual. It comes down to your identity. It comes down to your own self-concept and your ability to be powerful as a creator. There are certain situations out there that are just about strategy, but you are not that kind of person because you are listening to this because you are an incredibly magical, brilliant, in tune, and on assignment human being. Okay. You're the type of person who's creating something. You're the type of person who is meant for something big. Highly likely, you've already created so much in your life. Highly likely, you are already one of the most successful people that you know. Highly likely, like I said before, this is not your first rodeo. And you are entering this place of a great change, not necessarily because something's wrong or broken or you couldn't figure it out or you're stuck, but simply because it is time for a change for you. And there's many transitional moments that can bring this on. For example, there might be a relationship change that is at the forefront of your life right now. Maybe a relationship that needs to end, or maybe you've recently gotten a divorce, or something has shifted majorly. Or else potentially this has something to do with the fact that you have kids. Perhaps maybe you're a new mother and life is different now, or maybe you're a mother like myself who is getting ready to become an empty nester and starting a new, different time of her life. This is one of the things that's really alive for me right now, is I have a 17-year-old who's meant to be starting his senior year and just came home from a few weeks in Italy and has announced that he wants to do his senior year online, and he wants to move to Italy for his senior year and start his adult life. And I'm like, whoa, this is a big transition. I thought I was going to get one more year as a mama. I wasn't ready for this. And so naturally, huge transition is coming. Great change is coming. I know for a lot of you who have built businesses or created ways that you serve other people of your community and you have loved your work, possibly for many, many years, it's highly likely you've created a lot of success for yourself and established yourself in this way. Yet it might feel like it's not working anymore, or like all of a sudden you're blocked, or that you can't do it in the way that you once were able to. And even deeper than that, you might be at a place where you just don't want to. It takes a very responsible, loyal person to really bring a vision through. And so you might just be realizing that you're at a place where it's time to do something else, or there's a new evolution of self-loading and yourself connected to your mission. But because you're such a loyal person, you're not just out here pivoting and burning down your business and doing whatever the fuck you want. You are substantial. You are loyal, you are credible. Yet you feel that there is this change happening for you and you're just not feeling that resonance anymore in the way that you once did with what you've built and what you've created. And that one is one that's alive for me as well. And I think another transition that many of you are going through as women especially is you're going through the midlife change. And this can mean a lot. There's a collective consciousness going on right now where everyone's freaking out about perimenopause. And, it's like everybody thinks that they're in it. Even women as early as their late 30s are feeling that they're in it. And I'm not a scientist and I'm not here to say that they aren't. But when we all latch on to a collective consciousness, we very quickly all start believing something that isn't even necessarily true, which begins to become true. And this is the power, of our minds. And this is actually a really cool phenomenon. And it can get you to be believing something about yourself that isn't necessarily true or real. But with that said, midlife is a real thing. Like our bodies are changing, who we are is changing, how we feel is changing, how we're being seen. For some of the first times in my life over the last couple of years, I've experienced not feeling seen anymore. And y'all know your girl's a Leo sun sign, and she really needs to be seen. And so if I feel like I'm in a room and I'm really not being seen, or I'm being overlooked, or I walk past a man and he doesn't even notice me at all, it affects me, you know? It affects me. And it's confusing at this time because traditionally, as you're going through the midlife changes as a woman, we've been told that we're no longer relevant, that we're not important anymore, that we're on our way out. But I know, like myself, I've been told these things and I'm being influenced to feel this way, except for I just keep getting hotter and hotter, actually. And I'm feeling more and more in my body. I'm more and more in love with my body. Yes, my body is confusing me in certain ways still, but I'm feeling it. Feeling it. I'm dating. I am, having beautiful relationships, intimacies. I'm feeling hot. sexy even with my silver hair, especially with my silver hair. My age has become actually confusing for people. People are so hesitant and curious to ask me how old I am because it does not like compute. I've got this silver hair, but my frequency is saying something else. You know, I always joke and say that cougars are my soulmate clients because that's the energy. That's the vibe. Everything around me is telling me that it's time to shrivel up and die, essentially, and that it's soon to be over for me. But I have this hunger awakening inside of me. And I don't mean like in the cliche cougar sense of this hunger for men, although I do have this hunger for men, which I hope that you do too, but just this hunger for life and passion and intimacy. And it's a conflict with what the collective consciousness is saying. And there is great change all around me. And I could let it really fucking get to me. I could let it make me think that, maybe certain aspects of my life are actually over for me. But honestly, that's a very, very sad reality. I just recently, and I'm still somewhat going through it, but been going through this health scare. And it's been about my hips. Basically, my hips have locked up. And I have a lot of theories on why this is happening, and maybe we'll get into it a little bit further in one of the other episodes. But for the first time in my life, I'm walking around feeling the like age of my body. And at first I thought something happened, and something did happen. I actually had an injury in my hip. I have a labral tear. But I'm looking deeper into what the actual energetics are that are going on with my body right now as well. And what I'm actually taking away is that, yes, I need to do my physical therapy. Yes, I need to, rebuild my strength and my mobility in my hips. And maybe now I need to be paying attention to my body a little bit more because I just did turn 47 a couple days ago, and I'm not completely in denial of, the trajectory of a body over time. But my biggest takeaway is that my legs and my hips were closing up because I wasn't opening my legs literally and figuratively to life and everything that wants to give itself to me. Like your girl just needs to open up her legs more, literally and figuratively. As a woman, you're anatomically designed to open up to receive, to open your legs wide up and to receive all of the glory and the bounty that's meant for you. Okay, so all of this to say, I know you're listening because you're going through what I call your great change. And what I want you to just like hold in your heart first is I know there's a part of you that thinks that there's something wrong. I know it because I've been there. And I know that there's a part of you that thinks that you're stuck or that maybe it's not going to work out for you. And like maybe you've done something wrong or you're not cut out or you're not meant for what it is that you thought that you were meant for. And we've got to, as quickly as possible, really knock this shit off because those kinds of thoughts are going to spiral you out so quickly, and you're going to become a shell of yourself, of who you know yourself to be, if you're not already on your way there. But it can get to a point where you almost become an unrecognizable version of yourself. And especially because of the type of woman that you are, somebody who has already succeeded in so many ways in her life, has already built so many different levels of success, and already has such an incredibly beautiful life to be proud of. We cannot get you, we cannot have you being in a place where you forget about that because you're overwhelmed and overpowered by these vibrational thoughts and loops of you thinking it's over for you or that you're not going to be able to figure it out, or that it wasn't meant to be, or that somehow you're blocked. I was in a conversation with one of my beloved clients today, and we were kind of just talking about the loops and the blocks. And very often she goes through phases where she feels stuck. As we do, we go from a flow state to feeling stuck. And, we get back into this place after it feels good for a while where we're asking ourselves the same questions again, or we're doubting our power, or we're, like second guessing, and we start to believe that we're stuck. And we can start saying to ourselves, like, I can't believe I'm still in this place after all this time. Can't believe that I'm back here again. Especially for those of you who are, on a healing path, on a spiritual awakening path where you feel like you've come so far in your growth and your ability to be human. And then all of a sudden you find yourself back in a place where you're looping. And what I wanted to offer her today, really came from the inspiration of what I'm here talking to you about today and like what's on my heart and where I'm building things from. And I wanted to offer her the perspective today of like, what if we could just stop with the nonsense and say that you're not actually stuck and that there's not something wrong and that you haven't failed or that you're not getting it. And instead, there's just a great change here for you on the horizon, or literally sitting right in front of you. And when we can soften into thinking about it from that perspective, it erases a lot of the heavier things that come in and start to fuck up our frequency when we think something is off or bad or wrong or that we're stuck. That's when the feelings of shame come in. That's when the feelings of guilt, helplessness, hopelessness come in. That's what brings us down to these lower levels of the, frequency chart. And once the levels get low, it's hard to break out of the loop. It really is a game that you're playing with yourself. It's like a psychedelic reality where it's like when you're in a psychedelic trip and almost you're like right on the edge of everything making sense. And it falls into your hand and you grasp it for moments sometimes, but then it falls out of your hand and you lose it. And it's like you tasted it and you felt it, but then you lose it. But it was right there and you know it exists. And it's actually so easy to understand, but it so easily can slip away so quickly as well. Okay. And so it's a game. This entire reality that you are creating both consciously and subconsciously, it's a game that you're playing with yourself. And where I'm at right now is I'm in a flow state where I'm learning to play the game really good. And I think a long time ago, I played the game pretty good before I had had some very serious failures and before I had got bitch slapped by the universe and, before I had my self-esteem rocked, before I had loss, before I went from being proud of myself to no longer being proud of myself, or making a certain amount of money to no longer being able to make a certain amount of money, or whatever it is, you know, before there was so much confidence and then shit happens. And now I can tell you, I'm back in that place where I've decided that it works out for me. I've decided that it's happening for me. And I talk about this a lot with my clients, how when somebody tells you you have to just decide, it can be one of the most infuriating, frustrating things to try to understand. It's that Chinese finger trip. It's that psychedelic moment. But it really does come down to that. And so often, when things are confusing or not working out, we're looking outside of ourselves and we're looking for strategy and we're trying to fix it and figure it out. For 2 years, I was trying to like figure out who I should hire or what $27 course I needed or what AI bot did I want to run my question through or, what funnel did I need to create? Like all of these strategic answers that I was looking to when really it was an identity issue, and a self-concept issue, and a power as a creator issue, and for me, a lack of pleasure issue as well. And so as I'm manifesting and having my realizations coming in now in record time, as I'm back in the frequency of being able to make money again, as I am back in the frequency of facilitating high ticket sales again, as I'm back in the frequency of people investing into me and my mentorship and my coaching and my experiences at very top dollar prices, I can see that timelines are collapsing really quickly. And I will tell you right now, it wasn't any strategy. It absolutely was not any strategy that I learned or figured out or built. It was none of that. It is coming all the way back to my identity, my self-concept, my power as a creator, and honestly, my pleasure too. I was being serious when I realized that I really did need to start opening up my legs more, and believe me, I have. Okay. So, this is what we're going to dive into over these next few episodes of this EP on the Great Change. But before I let you go for the day, I just want to talk to your beautiful, precious self that I know is inside of you. And I just want to talk to you and give you a little bit of love because this place, it's like a torture chamber sometimes. And you're so smart, you're so brilliant, and you're so capable, which makes it even harder. And you have social media surrounding you where you're seeing all of these amazing things happen for other people. And it seems like so many people know exactly what they're doing and have it figured out. And people have these incredible relationships or are making all this money or have such an incredible amount of influence and impact on the world. And you know that that is for you too. And it already has been. You already have the proof of that. You're not just starting from scratch here. I know you're not in your beginning stages and you already have the proof. You already have the accomplishment. And yet you know that there's actually so much more for you. You're actually smart enough to know that no matter the success that you have had or have created, you've actually only barely scratched the surface of what's really possible for you. And this world is truly infinite, and there's two things that have shown me this truth the most, and that is my exploration in the psychedelic realms and my exploration out in the world, traveling. Actually, the first place I learned to actually quantum leap was through my travels. The definition of a quantum leap is great change with minimal effort. Like, hello, that's an airplane ride to Europe, to a new land, to a new country where you completely change your environment, the frequency, the people, the food, the aesthetic, the feeling, the vibration. You change it instantly just by taking a plane from point A to point B. It's also how I learned to collapse time. I mean, what is even flying in an airplane to another country? What even is that? And then, of course, spending the time in the psychedelic realms, when you really start to open up your consciousness and you're starting to be able to understand what this human existence is, what vibration is, what frequency is, what reality is and isn't. I utilize those tools both quite frequently in my own life. I travel quite a bit more than I utilize psychedelics. Actually, I don't use psychedelics all that often, mind-altering substances all that often in my life because I don't really need them now. I feel like I understand the assignment, but they've been such great teachers and tools. And that's why those are the two things that I feel most passionate about in my work with you. And this is what I create my offers around and my experiences that I invite you into. And so I just want to give you a little bit of love right now because you are very close, very, very close. Like it could be a half a second away from now. It could be now from realizing that you actually do have the power to decide that you're not in a block, that you've not been left behind, that there absolutely is more for you, that you are absolutely just beginning, and that you do have the power to decide in your creation of your identity and your self-concept and your ability to understand your power and your willingness to bring pleasure into all of it is the recipe for everything that you could ever dream of. It actually gets to be that good. It actually is that wild, this human experience. There is actually that level of duality that it really gets to be everything that you dream of. It really truly does. We're going to go deeper into this over the next episodes because this is what we're doing here in my world. We're always gonna do strategy. Like we're always gonna talk about the real-time things, but this is the magic that I want to share with you now because this is what has taken me back to a place where I no longer feel that I am in a continual vibrational loop. This is these are the things that have brought me back into my power. It's literally nothing outside of me. I have things, I do things, I participate in things. I get coached, I have a coach, I take programs, invest, I learn, I do the things, but it's me that did it. And it's you that's going to do it too. Okay? I'm so happy you're here. I'm so excited to dive in with you over the next few episodes. And I want to tell you a little bit about the work that I'm doing now and how we get to actually take these principles and play with them in real life. And so you're going to hear about this on each one of these episodes because we're meant to do this work together. And as an experiential teacher, I want to take every single thing that I've learned and that I've embodied in this lifetime and share it with you so that I can help to collectively expand the consciousness of this planet. And I want to share some things with you that are really special. And I want to curate some experiences for you that you're going to absolutely love. And more than anything, I want to make some spaces available for you to come into where we don't have to focus on how broken or stuck you're feeling, that we can completely step out of that. For those of you who know me and know my work, you already know that I don't take the healing approach when it comes to psychedelics. I just don't, because I think healing happens naturally in psychedelic experiences. So my work is really about activation and expansion because you're going to heal through that. I don't believe in the perpetual, codependent loop of healing that can happen. And so it's important for me to really tell you about what I'm offering because what I'm not offering you is something to fix an aspect of you that you think is stuck or broken. I'm inviting you to step out of that identity and to start to create more powerfully. So, there's two things coming up. The first one is a retreat that I'm hosting in Italy, in Rome to be exact, and it's called the Ciao Bellas Retreat. And it is built on these pillars of identity, self-concept, pleasure, and your power as a creator. And for those of you who are maybe new to my world, I have been traveling extensively, both professionally and for pleasure, for many decades. And it's my natural like state. I'm like a liquid flow dancer on acid when it comes to jumping time zones. I travel about 50% of my time. It is completely unrelatable to anyone that I know. And it's a superpower of mine. And so inviting you to come out into the world and to explore and to have retreat with me is like my ultimate pleasurable gift to be able to offer you in service. And so we are going on a retreat, a women's retreat, and we're going to Rome. We're staying in this beautiful villa in the countryside just outside of the city of Rome. And it's a 5 night retreat. It's going to be luxurious. I have a very high standard with a side of champagne taste for the types of experiences that I like to cultivate. And you're going to love it. And it is for you and your great change that you're going through. And it's for you to say yes to something simply because you want to, because you desire to, not because you're trying to fix something, not because you're trying to learn something, not because you think that you're going to get something out of it, but to come for the experience of it. And it's going to be kind of a hybrid of spending time in Rome, doing some tourism, going to the Colosseum, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are you. We're going to be doing photo shoots. Photo shoots are always a part of my retreat experiences because identity upgrading, identity work. You're going to be able to wear your best outfits. We're going to go shopping. We're going to eat the most glorious food. We're going to marinate and luxuriate. And we're going to explore off the beaten path. This isn't the tourism trip to Rome that you plan from looking up all the hottest places on Instagram. This is a curated, bespoke experience that's been cultivated by me and my team, literally walking the streets of Rome, finding the most beautiful, perfect places to take you to, handpicking everything, curating every single detail, and just giving you the experience of a lifetime. And when we're not exploring Rome, we're going to be at home at the villa. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. There's a pool. We're going to be having so many beautiful long conversations and laughter and giggle, and there's going to be resting. You're going to be able to read your book and have plenty of time to chill and luxuriate. You'll be reading your book while I bring you a cup of espresso in bed. And the missing piece of this retreat is something that I wasn't actually planning on doing when I decided to host this retreat. I was stepping away from psychedelic facilitation and having that be the center point of my own business and be the thing that I'm known for, because although it is a huge part of my work, it's not my identity. And so I wasn't planning on facilitating any type of ceremony at this retreat, but as the guest list has been forming, and I found this beautiful villa that has this incredible pool, and I just really started thinking about things. I realized that it really has to be an opportunity for us to laugh and dance and skinny dip underneath the Italian moonlight while we have a very beautiful and intentional evening with the glorious, glorious frequency that is MDMA. And this is a very rare occasion. I really don't facilitate this publicly. I facilitated this underground for many, many years, but this is the first time I'm facilitating it at a public retreat. I mean, it's a private retreat, but you get what I'm saying. But it just has to happen because this retreat is going to show you aspects of yourself that have been waiting to be revealed to you. And this medicine is a heart opener. It literally dissolves the walls of your heart. And I just can't think of a better frequency to play with as a complement of what this experience is going to activate in you in totality. And it's just going to be so magical. So we have that. It's coming at the end of September. It is go time, show time. We have one shared room left available, and then we have two private rooms as well. There's all kinds of options for you to make this happen for yourself. I encourage you to reach out to me right now if you feel like you want to have this happen for you. And then, in addition to that, what I'm going to be sharing with you more in depth over the next few episodes is I have been dreaming of facilitating a mastermind, but mastermind isn't the complete correct word in totality, although it is a round table. It is a merging of brilliant minds. Mastermind is different than a program. For those of you who aren't that familiar with the world of masterminds, it's not me teaching you what to do. It's about us sitting at a round table together, collectively bringing our energy and power into the room, into the space for the collective experience of all of us. And of course, I am facilitating this, so I will be leading you and I will be teaching you throughout the year. But it's a 1 year experience. I would say it's a mastermind, secret society slash social club, if you will. That's the best way to describe it. And I'm still putting the finishing touches on it. I have only really talked about it privately, and I have started enrolling some people, but it hasn't really been publicly announced yet. But you are hearing about it here. And it's a year-long experience together. It is structured and it is built around 3 trips that will happen over the year. We're going to be going to Paris in early December together for a retreat. There is literally nothing like Paris around the holidays. And then we're going to be taking another retreat to the big island of Hawaii, where I am from. And that is going to be just oozing with goddess energy, bringing you back to nature, getting you barefoot, and bringing you to my home, where I really learned my own power as a creator. I live on an active volcano. It literally is the island of creation and change. And we're going to have such a special retreat experience here. And then for our final experience, we're going to be meeting in Los Angeles. And I've chosen each 3 of these places very intentionally for their grid lines, for the power that I think each of these locations hold. And the idea is I want to get you out in the world, but I want to be able to work with you and, travel not just out into the world with you, but through the year with you. So it's an experiential mastermind that includes these 3 trips, in addition to an entire experience virtually throughout the year. And I will tell more about this as we go through these episodes, but this is starting in the fall and it's going to be incredible. So, all right, my darling dear, thank you for being here. And I'm excited to expand more on this with you. I see you. I am you. I know what you're meant for. I know where you're going. And I know how to get there. And I want to share it with you. Okay. That's it for now, Tata, for now. And I will talk to you soon.